Chapter 9. Receiving Records. During this somewhat serene time, people began to come to me with records. These were not ancient plates or writings that needed to be translated. They were simply writings that had been given to men and women from many different sources and many walks of life. The way that I received each record was different, but the stories behind them were similar and went something like this. Someone would come to me and say, "I have been directed to give you this record." If I asked them why, they would usually say, "I don't know, I was just told, or directed, or felt to give it to you." Being raised in the LDS environment, new scripture or new revelation has always been an accepted part of God speaking to man. The Mormon Church's main cornerstone of religious understanding comes from an ancient record that was translated by the founder of the church, Joseph Smith. This record, called the Book of Mormon, left 2/3 untranslated because Joseph was told that the people were not ready to receive it, but that in time the full record would come forth. This mystery of when the rest of the book would come out was not revealed, and so has created a lot of speculation as to how and when it would occur. Anyone who claims to have anything remotely similar to, or sounding like it could be a part of that record, is immediately put under the scrutiny of church leaders. For my part, I have never claimed to be a prophet, seer, or revelator, but have just sought to know my Creator and the purpose of life. In the process of doing this, God blessed me to be an instrument to put together a compilation of records that were both modern and ancient. Some will say, "Why you?" And to that I say, because I have been willing to do that which I was directed, even if it rubs against the grain sometimes. I have never claimed this compilation to be anything more than one more stepping stone to help an individual understand God more completely. I have been asked numerous times where the records came from. Suffice it to say, they were all written by people who truly wanted to share their understanding of God with mankind. I will make this suggestion. If you really want to know if these writings are of God or not, then go to the source and ask for yourself. Remember that you must ask in all sincerity, believing first, and exercising faith that God will answer you, knowing that He does this because of His great love for you. Remembering that He gives to all men liberally and upbraideth not, will deny none. While a missionary for the Mormon Church, I gave the Book of Mormon to many people who read it or part of it and then said, "It just doesn't ring true to me. I think I'll pass on it." Back then, I would judge the reader as someone who had rejected the message of truth and would not progress spiritually. That position seems extremely judgmental to me now. Many of the people we shared with just simply were not interested in things spiritual. To some, the fear of what this would mean to them in their lives or how it would change their lives was greater than their desire to move forward. Having seen more and more truth myself, which only a short time before I would have laughed at, I now see these people in a different light. They were just not ready to step into anything beyond the light that was before them. In time, I know that they will look at life differently as they continue to develop their own understanding. Many will grow in their spirituality and never need any of the tools that I was given for my growth. That's just great. My hope is that some part of where I have been will help someone to move forward, if even in the smallest way. Truth is one of those things that can only be experienced when one is willing to live by or accept the truth for what it is. What each of us does with that truth is between us and our Maker and should not be swayed by what others may think. One of the records that was given to me came from a man that had a dream that I would be in his office the next day. When I showed up, he had it on his 3.5-inch floppy disk waiting for me. We had no set appointment to meet, and why this happened in this manner I cannot say. But time and time again, miraculous events like this surrounded these writings. By the middle of March of 1994, I had received 13 such records. Most of them were already in a chapter and verse form, typed out and loosely put together. Jesus gave me instruction about each of the records and why they were important in my life. I did not share any of these records with others unless directed by the Lord at that time. During the last week of March, Jesus came to me again and said it was his desire that I compile 10 of the records I had received and put them into book form. This, he said, I had agreed to do before coming to the earth. Never had I been asked to do anything that seemed so difficult. You must remember that at this point, I had only been hearing this voice and feeling this loving feeling that claimed to be Jesus. I had not seen him as I had seen my grandfather and Robert Benson. I knew inside that this one step of publishing was going to create more controversy with me and the church than anything I had ever done in my life. As I pondered over what I had been asked to do, I decided to fast for 3 days to see if I could get more clarity on the matter, or maybe even some additional information that would help me know better how I was to handle this request. On the first day of my fast, Jesus came again and told me to continue to fast, that he had something he wanted to tell me on Friday, and that I was going to go out into the desert to receive these instructions. My heart raced for the next 2 days as I wondered what it could be that he wanted to tell me or show me. Friday afternoon, I packed a sleeping bag in my Jeep and headed west, trying to go as I felt prompted by the Spirit. I kept driving until I came to a nice little canyon with lots of green grass. Most of the time, the desert in Utah is very dry, but in April or the end of March, it can be very green and beautiful. This happened to be a wet spring, and the hills were gorgeous. I parked the vehicle and walked around a quarter of a mile up a small slope until I found a spot where I could lie down in the grass and gaze up at the sky. I must have lain there for the better part of an hour when I started to feel that rush or exhilaration that the love of Jesus gives flowing over me. I spoke first, asking him what it was that he wanted of me. His response was somewhat of a letdown, but a great lesson for me. He spoke directly to the point and said, I just wanted you to know that you can hear me as well at home as you can here. Then I heard what seemed to be a small group chuckling, and I broke into laughter myself. I got up and drove home, realizing that I had some pretty funny ideas about how I thought God had to operate.